Manipur, PCRM, would like to welcome you all. Before we start, just to highlight the main objective of People's Campaign for Resurgent Manipur, PCRM's main aim is to facilitate conversations on range of public issues and thereby help or contribute in shaping informed public sphere. So when PCRM was initiated in 2011, one main objective was to intervene in 3 consecutive state assembly elections. So in run-up to the next state assembly elections, PCRM is planning to organize a series of panel discussions, interviews, and lectures. So today we have our second panel discussion on public issues and political parties, reflections on forthcoming assembly elections. And for panel discussion today, as panelists, we have with us Oja Rupachandra Yumnam, Editor-in-Chief, Impact TV, Dr. Immanuel Varte, Assistant Professor, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, and Oja SM Jalal, President, All Manipur Muslim Organizations Coordinating Committee. And to moderate today's session, we have Oja Dr. G. Amarjit Sharma, Assistant Professor, IGNTU, New Delhi. So to proceed with the session, I would like to hand over to Oja Amarjit.
Thank you, Babina. And thank you, PCRM, for giving me this opportunity. I'm no idea. Quick discussion. See holding either format Haigadra. Quick 2 set of round of discussion when a like any call. Ahambagi question set of questions. For all the panelists, I pathokchara keduga. Aikoigi mathung manau naina discussion je sathase aikoigi ahamada oja Jalal duga anishu badana oja Immanuel Varte aduga umsubna oja Rupachandra aduna ahanbagi si ahanbagi round si sarawna question anigumba haitare ko aduna ahanbagi question sai pathokcharake ko babinana panelists si introduce tawgrabanina ai amuk hanna hanjanjarore ko my question is, what are the significant public issues today in Manipur? Why do you think they are significant, and why they should be an important part of the critical public opinions in the state? I have a question. Aduga anishu baswai happen can talk pathokcharage. Do you think some of the issues, do you think those issues would matter among the political parties in Manipur? And in the forthcoming state assembly election, the matters in the issues in the matter issue identified to issues in the matter to be together have a question. If you think that they would not matter, why you think so? And what are the necessary reforms or changes or mechanisms or steps according to you, such public issue can be matters in the party system and electoral politics? Aduna ahambagi si akoi oja Jalanda ana lecture ge oja Jalan hana ketobiro opinion se pibiro aduga mathangda same questions ki oja Varte aduga Rupachandra. So over to you, oja Jalal.
First of all, I would like to thank the PCRM team for giving me such an opportunity. Hojiksi akoigi laibiriba panelists in among the Tambiriba wafamsi sida laksadring mamagda akoigi miangi marakta sigumba campaign ama sinbiriba PCRM with timbu akoi hanga letana akoi thagatpa matamjage aduga akoi election ki matang da leriba akoigi people's ki issues e masi akoina people's ki marakta sum koi work to jaba aduga people's ki aspirations aduga people ki mindset adugi marakta sum lei jaba amoina akoi khitang share to jage adudi akoi last some elections akoi Manipur da sum mami tarak pa pot ama lei akoi election si akoi ki some certain area da baruina kwegi chingi area singda kwegi election wena chattaba kwegi selection wena chatpa kwegi kanagumba non-state actor group kumba kwegi kangbu kharana apamba candidate ama adum mai pakhan nanabagi damakta makoina election je rig tawraga adum chatpagi pot ama ui ado handaki lakadori be election sidati koi maru oina akoigi nagagi akoigi framework agreement siga yamna mari leinaba issue ama akoigi chingi section amada chingi section amana maru oina khundaba mafam kharada masi yam chauna mami tagani ana koya satawi aduga loina na makoina nominate toba adugumba candidate sing haitare non state actor sing sina nominate toba candidate sing du yamna chowa strong force ma adum oiraga leigani haina ko adumena thajai aduga siga chap manaba same kanoda pattern da akogi kuki gi adumba area sing da su kuki gi su group ta leiriba adugumba akoi non state actor group sing sigi oiba am achoba influence ama the election sida mami tarakani na ko adumena khali aduga loina na akogi nagagi toba duga chapmana ba pattern da akogi kuki singi so akogi keno ama akoi political alliance ama political group ama lakpai yai haina kuina adumaina asa tawi lakpagi situation khara so akoi uba hore haba tare aduga nakal amarom dana akogi ngasi maksu tawriba akogi manipur da hill area gi autonomous ki issue se masi daida yumpham oira kanda akogi hill people sing apunba alliance ama amuk lakpa yabagi adugi alliance to gi level da punna akogi hill sing oiba tongan ba political dimension ama thorakpa yabagi potse handa ki election sida mami tagadra madugi issue yam chauna mami tarakadra na ko adugi akoi expectation ama lei haba tare aduga masiga iroina na akogi nakal amarom dana akogi valley gi area dana kamai togeda akogi valley gi area dana muka akogi senjau paiba sen yamna paiba ado senchi kamaina paibano ado kadai dagi laga paibano karamba resource dagi paibano haibadu manipur da thoina ka hena madugi kanozu yam kana thinate akoi enforcement directorate naga akoi manipur da sen pairi je kamaina pairi no haidana adugi surom da kya lakpa ude ana maram oirakanda tongan ba karbar myam ma tawrakanda business pyam tawrakanda madudagi pairakpa paisa singdo maduga loina na akogi public ta akogi social worker gi akogi kenosi email si lauraga thorakpa adumba candidate singna pot thennagadabagi mami ma akoi kitang tawa phangi ado maseda akogi congress natraga bjp natragana akogi npp natraga lairiba political party mayam sigi waba thudokpa yamna kanna party da yumpham oiraga vote thengnaba khonaba adugi mawongdo akoi thoina leigadawa mande ado india gi oiba electoral system sida di akoi party da base tawraga vote thengnabagi mami si yam chauna tai haba tare adu manipur da party da base tawraga vote thengnabagi mami si thoina tade
intervention akogi parties ki post na akogi second round of discussion da later say the hamagishna issues identified rana kra heavy greka the issue to identified to biro adu da ke dobgi oigido no na to oiroi to no khara dimension to greka the parties ki specific questions na second round of ke no do in ubira say adana ji pan da autonomy ki issue ma ki question number is to ma diga amana ngasagi money power gi nexus muscle power gi issue ma to ma aduna issues do ina hana general issues da hana oina keno to adom na khanba serious oina khanjaba praja niyam na maju seriously logne khanba issues sing do ina discuss to ya party ki specific question the second round oina lakse
aduga valley gi matang sidani baruina akoi khara complicated oigadori si maruina valley dati akoi gi thoina akoi gi public ki issue se masai da election si lakadabagi mami mai tatate mi dugi popular oiba condition nai tar money power muscle power lagi madi sen yam pai bani haraga deba vote pihora sena heta tawbagi ade mayam si akoi gi samu da akoi yai tharaga pangtha ba haigadra adugi mongda praja sing si chu akhoi election maya dati akhoi issue sing je loina kaw gi ba ta for example mamang da akhoi citizenship amendment bill gi matang da akhoi am achoba issue lei khiba adu citizenship amendment bill gi matang da notice ta mai hauna chakhra kanda madugi matung da ikan kanadana lakpa 2019 gi election sida akhoi Bharatiya Janata Party se masigi election manifesto da yaurakpa citizenship amendment bill satna ganena adagi then Bharat ki prime minister aduga home minister akhoi north east da laga Assam da Silchar da laga phongna citizenship amendment bill ji satna rani haidana amakoina mai pakpa taragadi shoidana introduce tawbani satna gani highway wafam se highway matamda Manipur da madugi issue ama recently laikribadugi mami sungta hekta da Manipur da Bharatiya Janata Party dugi nominee tuna dum mai pakhieba ana Manipur da khoi be maru oina valley sida khoi issue da base toraga election si chatpagi potama kya leite ado hill gi area dati makhoi gi leiriba hauji ki kuki gi shu gi wari aduga akhoi naga gi framework ki wari aduga makhoi gi khar hena chawba moi gi larger extent ta hill people singi weba tongan political kenomagi akhoi yam chawba mami ma tarkadra habi expectation bu lai aduga hauji akhoi mangda leiriba akhoi pending issues me amje masi maruaina akhoi Manipur da akhoi ILPC chatnarani na hai taraga su ILPC kadai phawa phajana chatnarabano kadai phawa phasana work torabano haibagi matang da yam chapchana lekhai ama tadana leiba adagi leiriba tongan ba akhoi micro communities mayam amagi grievances mayam am leiri masigi trust deficit leiri aduga development gi matang da mu yengba taraga su akhoi yamna lack of development si yam leiri adu masi anti incumbency factor si akhoi lakadra natraga laoidra habsi ngasagi magi kano da party da issue da principal da what si satpagi mami se ka hena tadabni namadugi potu haujik maki di akoina sapchana haiba ngamte aduga haujik lairiba sitasu akoigi political party sing sigi marakta akoigi horse trading gi akoigi issue si am chawna leibani na hayang hangchit amuka akoigi kari amu erakadoi no congress dagi amuk makata na thokibagi wa lairi adigi amuk BJP da am thoktoira Congress de amuk thoktoira amuk chapchaba anatraga etop topa inau noba akoigi B team C team gaina puthokna bagi lakna bagi issue lakadoira adumba akhoi yam chapchana akhoi haiba ngamjaba uncertain oiba political situation kharati haujima leili haba tare aduga swai phom thamjage hauji
hagi just recollect of voina ko ozagi matungina issue se aina sum broadly yang matamda ngasagi ILP gi in the line permit system issue male again akhoi citizen amendment ki ko aduga autonomy ki issue ko jana haibada ngasagi some part of the Manipur ki say sta haitare masi issue sing say live elections the matter kashu to habigi ma opinion am pv ado targeting ngasai questions da high river idan communities the matter to citizenship ki issue or autonomy ki issue or micro communities sing sigi grievances inequalities ki the lack of development issues sing say matter to hon ke high taragati karam conversation pe ni odala
akhoi hojik ma ahan bada masi akhoi gi maru oina praja singsina akhoi gi miyam sina akhoi yam aware oiba ma madu change haba tare akhoi gi citizen singsina yamna aware oiba taragati lakariba akhoi gi political activists sing do madu gi maturity yam line check to we ani haijari aduga loina na akhoi gi Haujiki Ladiba situation sida akhoi vote lep kani haina tawriba singse masi akhoi political party singsina makhoi si angtang ahan bada akhoi gi vote ne masi enforcement directorate kumba mana angtang makhoi si hana scanning angtang tawthon ba makhoi si masa se kamai tawbro angta akhoi gi low habeng ba haigatra tugi phemna angtang moi se hana angtang habeng thokpa ma dakar leibra na khali paramdi moina miyam se commodity gi type ta Karbar ki type da paisa khara investment to thokraga madugi in reciprocal da khara achoba benefit ama mai objective to then thamaka da mayam da khoi gi thamai jalaga khoi gi ranti gi ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯐꯤꯜꯁꯤꯗ ꯆꯪꯉꯛꯄ ꯃꯤ ꯉꯥꯛꯇ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯅꯧꯕ ꯀꯦꯟꯗꯤꯗꯦꯠꯁꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯎꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯌꯦꯕ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝꯕ ꯁꯤꯆꯨꯋꯦꯁꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯐꯕ ꯃꯇꯤꯛ ꯆꯥꯕ ꯚꯤꯖꯅꯔꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯝꯕ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯇꯤꯁꯤꯌꯟ ꯈꯔ ꯊꯣꯔꯛꯀꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯏꯁꯨꯗ ꯕꯦꯁ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯤꯟꯁꯤꯄꯜꯗ ꯕꯦꯁ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯏꯂꯦꯛꯁꯟ ꯊꯦꯡꯅꯕꯒꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝꯕ ꯁꯤꯅꯥꯔꯤꯑꯣ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯎꯕ ꯐꯪꯉꯛꯀꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯊꯥꯖꯕꯗꯤ ꯂꯩ.
Anyway, but mathangsi kenoda muk akhoi oja Varte Immanuel Varte da same question se oja muk amu hanjar should I repeat the question again? The same questions. Immanuel
I
Varte.
think it's fine. It's fine. Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Tai. Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So should I repeat the question?
No need. It's fine.
Okay. Please share your views.
Okay, thank you, Amarjit, and I thank the organizer for this opportunity. Actually, I've been looking forward to this for quite a long time, and this program is multilingual. But I also request the audience to please understand me. I would like to speak in a language that I'm more comfortable, so that I can express what I wanted to say. So I will be speaking more in English rather than Maitalon, even though I can speak Maitalon, but still sometimes it's easier to express oneself. So what Jalal has said is very true. I mean, some of the things that he has said, I totally accept it. Like regarding the autonomous district council issue in the hills, for example, and also the open secret, like often the open secret nexus between politicians and some certain, like underground groups. Yes, that's very true. But what I find is, as I often mentioned before in my other speeches, the hills cannot exist without the valleys, and the valleys cannot exist without the hills. So the issue that when we face here in Manipur, especially when it comes to election politics also, like the hills and the valleys have to come together. And this coming together is one of the hardest issues that we have faced so far. Like we are living next door to each other, all of us. I am living here in Imphal, and yes, others are living in the hills, and so many like in the valleys. But the main issue that I find is whenever we speak about the political problems that we have got, the social problems that we have got, even the upcoming election problems that we have got, I just wanted to ask to the viewers also, and to my other respected panelists and the other respected members, how well do we really understand each other? How much do we really interact with each other? Because even when it comes to the sixth schedule issue, for example, in certain parts of the hill areas of Manipur, and also yes, the alternative arrangement or the Naga political movement in certain parts of Manipur, or even let's say even a certain illegal migrant issue that we have here in Manipur in certain parts, whether it's the valley or in the hills, or even when it comes to certain electoral politics, the problem that we often face, the main issue that I find is that oftentimes the hills try to solve their problems without, really communicating with the valley. And the valley try to solve the problem of Manipur without really communicating with the hill. So I think the main issue that we're facing right now, there have been so many books being written, there are so many programs being done, but I think we still lack this perfect communication, like between the people of Manipur, whether it's in the hill or whether it's in the valley. Actually, when we speak about hill and valley, that can also be quite relative, because the Imphal Valley is often higher than many of the hill areas when it comes to geographical terms. So we are all in this together. So the main issue is that we are not really trying to work together to solve this issue. So when it comes to politics, even when it comes to the upcoming election, I think this is where people need to come together. Yes, the UZ issue is there. Yes, corruption issue is there. Yes, horse trading issue is there. Yes, the district council or the autonomous district council issue is there very much, very much. Even the Naga issue is there very much. Even the illegal migrants issues are also there, especially after this COVID-19, and then especially with our closest neighbor Myanmar having this problem. We have so many issues that are coming together, and Manipur have actually More border, and we have Behiang also, and the border is so porous. Yes, we have all those issues, but I feel that even when it comes to this upcoming election, the most important issue that people, especially the people, because I think when it comes to even to the UZ issue, slowly, even among the youths, also even among the academicians, also, I think the so-called nexus is also gradually weakening. At least if I look at from the Mizo-Chin Kuki community side, also, I find that many people are now saying that no, this time no more involvement from certain hot party. I want to vote on my own. So many voices are coming out. So, and even the, especially the UZ groups who are under the suspensions of operations agreement with the government of the government of Manipur, even them, they need to maintain certain ground rules, and those ground rules are actually also very crucial for them to not break it. So these issues are there, and because of this, many people in Manipur, whether it's in the hills or whether it's in the valley, I think the youths and then the let's say the voters, the electors are coming out openly, starting to speak. So it is an issue, definitely, yes, but I think the issue is gaining less importance day by day. Corruption remains as it is. It's a vicious cycle. So how do we end this corruption, even when it comes to election, like buying votes, capturing votes, or horse trading politics? Yes, these have to stop somehow, but I really can't say from my side, how do we stop this actually? So the main thing is that the issues that we're facing here, it's not the hills problems alone, it's not the valleys problems alone, it is Manipur's problem as a whole. So more people, more of us have to come together to discuss openly without fear. Like we have to we need to have this more of this threadbare discussion, whether it's about autonomous district council, whether it's about ILP, whether it's about corruption issues, whether it's about certain nexus with certain groups and these people. We need to come out more openly, and even academicians also have to start speaking up. It's not just about theories, we have to go to the ground ourselves. And even social workers also have to do the same thing. Even even political parties also have to realize this, because we, in the upcoming election, the most important thing is that people need to have a common awareness, and programs such as this may actually help in bringing out that common awareness. We all know what the issues are, but the main thing is we lack the understanding. I am living next door to my other brother from the other community, but how well do I know him or her? How well do they know me? Actually, we are all coming from Manipur, but I really doesn't even know my own tribal brothers that well. And the same thing is happening even between the several communities here. So the main issue that I wanted to bring out in this program is that we need to have more communication. We need to work together, because Manipur's problem is our problem, not somebody's problem, not somebody else's problems. It is our problem. We need to work together. We need to have more of such interactions, more, because otherwise, when it comes to breaking down the issues, I think most of us are aware what are the problems we have. think most of us are aware of what problems we have, but the main thing is how do we overcome those problems? There is this lack of communication. There is this lack of interaction. Even when it comes to infrastructure, yes, the Hill people, we may complain, yes, we do not have equitable infrastructural distribution in Manipur. We do not have equitable distribution of facilities in Manipur. Yes, it's all there. Even the valley also will say the same thing. Even the hills also will say the same thing. But the main thing is we lack this interaction among ourselves. So we need to interact more so that every people in Manipur, big or small, will have more or less the same level of awareness when it comes to electing our representative. We know the issues ourselves. We are living the issues ourselves. So we do not need to explain this, but the main thing is we need to understand it with each other, and then we need to work more together, try to work together more. I think that is the only issue that I wanted to put out. Thank you.
Hey, even Oda Jalal also mentioned about the issue of autonomy in the backdrop of the Naga Framework Agreement, in the backdrop of currently ongoing tripartite talks with the Kuki-Chin community, Jaw communities. So I would like to know a little more on this, the issue of autonomy. And we know that generally we agree that there's some form of autonomy has to come into pictures within the framework of the Constitution of India. But what we are debating now is that what would be that exact nature of, or what would that autonomy look like? Because there have been questions on that should the autonomy be based on certain kind of territorially identified areas of peoples, or should it be ethnic based? Because given the complexities of the ethnic population and multi-ethnic population diversity, and given the complexities of changes in our society in the last few decades, incomings of development projects and intervention at various levels. So what would this autonomy look like? Are you saying that more empowered hill area community one, or are you saying should be more like a more empowered six schedule kind of local government institutions? What would be the nature of that autonomy that public should be matter about? What would be that nature, autonomy, and how you think that would matters in the forthcoming elections?
So when we speak about autonomy, especially the Autonomous District Council, as we all know, Manipur is not a sixth schedule area. Manipur is neither a fifth schedule area actually. Manipur is under Article 371C, which is quite close to the fifth schedule, but not. So when we speak about autonomy, even the Hill Area Committee, for example, is a constitutional body, so to speak. But in Manipur, it is not treated as such. It is treated as more like a kind of like just another department. So when we speak about autonomy, I feel that certain constitutional provisions as given in the Constitution of India should be given to the Autonomous District Council in Manipur. You know, certain concessions should be there. But every time when somebody speaks about autonomy, then there is somebody who says, hey, why should we do that? So we are kind of like just automatically scared, you know. So there is this very huge trust deficit actually. Whenever somebody speaks about autonomy, then somebody just started having this knee-jerk reaction, you know. So actually, even among the Mizo-Chin Kuki, it's not about a complete break from Manipur. No. We can't do that really. We really can't do that. You know, even for the Nagas in Manipur, I can't speak for them, but what I see from my own perspective, I think, you know, like, so let the Autonomous District Council in the hills of Manipur function as they should be. As they should be.
Yeah.
You know?
So
yeah.
how would that, Immanuel, that negotiate with the very, issues of territorialities? I think when we talk about autonomy, there's also associated elements of identity and territorialities. So how would that that situation that you talk about autonomy, how would that negotiate with the issue of territoriality? Because territoriality is at heart of the autonomy questions. How would
So
that be resolved?
when we speak about the autonomy issue, whether it's under the 6th schedule or the 5th schedule or whatever schedule that we have in the Indian Constitution, as long as somebody doesn't demand a secession from the state of Manipur, I think the territorial integrity of Manipur will not be disturbed. You know, you may have a 6th schedule in the hills, but it will still be a part of Manipur. So, and then even if you have a more empowered autonomous strategic council in the hills, Manipur will not lose its territorial integrity. We will still be the people of Manipur. We will still be definitely Manipur, actually. We'll have no problem with that. But the main thing is, like we really haven't started really going into that conversation, like, okay, if we give you this autonomy, what will be your stand? Has there been any questions about that? Seriously. So, or even for the hills, hill peoples also, like we haven't really started that discussion deep discussion there. We have discussion in the valley also, there's discussion. So what I feel is that autonomy in the sense, the territorial integrity of Manipur will have to be there. It has to be undisturbed. But then at the same time, as per the Constitution of India, yes, whether we like it or not, we have roughly about so far 35 recognized scheduled tribes in Manipur, for instance. So are those scheduled tribes who are recognized by the government of India really enjoying the provisions that they have been, provided in the Constitution of India? So we need to ask that question. So what I'm feeling is that I can't speak for the Mizo Chintupi community. No, I can't do that, or I can't speak for the Nagas. But what I feel is that I think as far as the Constitution allows, or as far as, because Manipur is more like a boiling pot of cultures, we have so many cultures, and all of these cultures are overlapping with each other. We don't know who is he or who are they. So we are all kind of like, like an onion, you feel it's like one layer on top of the other. So, but the thing is, I feel that there are certain areas where the hill areas also can enjoy certain autonomies as per the unique situation of Manipur.
Just one specific question to Immanuel, because I have been working on hills, and there are several issues I find many people in the interior of the hill not able to access to healthcare systems. They are not having proper road infrastructures. So do you think some basic issues can be come into what we are discussing about autonomy? Somewhere I feel that the way we discuss autonomy, the way we similarly neglect the basic everyday issues, because I've been working, just see about recent incidents in Corona. Many people cannot be vaccinated because of lack of road. Many people cannot be even get the gains of healthcare systems, or I have seen that others, many villages have not have proper all-weather road. So there are many issues. There are issues of resource rights. Many companies are coming in the here. So somewhere, don't you think that in our language of the politics on identity, territorial autonomy, we are neglecting basic issues that matters in those areas in the hills? Somewhere, do you think that this matter is being keeping marginalized these issues? Which I think is all important. Do you think this should be further important issues beside autonomy and territorialities?
Exactly. That is what I was mentioning briefly. Equitable distribution of infrastructure, equitable distribution of facilities, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's transport and communication. These are small issues, but like little drops of water makes an ocean. So when all of these issues come together, then that is when the problem started. So those are the, like we need to look at the smaller issues, what we can do and what we can't do right now. But I think in the coming election, like promises have to be delivered actually, because promises are not delivered. And the Hill people always felt cheated, not just by the government here in Imphal, actually even among the people ourselves, we felt, especially the minority communities, always felt cheated, So I think those little issues, not little actually, but major issues actually, when it comes to transport and communication, when it comes to health issues, when it comes to even being in the voters list. Right now, I'm also trying hard with some of my families in this Pezol district who are already like 19, 20 years of age, but still doesn't have a voter's ID card, even though they were born there and brought up there. So all of these issues are there. Somehow we can't help feeling marginalized, when we see such things happening. We face these problems all the time when we go to the hills. We face, but recently, actually, I do not want to name any political party here, but recently, these past few years, like 2-3 years, I think even in certain, even not all, but certain areas of the hill areas of Manipur, even transport and communication have gotten better, actually. Even health facilities are also working much better, even though still way below, what is expected. But at least they're starting to function. Even educational institutions are also, I think, functioning much better than before. So these are positive signs, and actually these positive signs actually helped in building up the trust even among the hill peoples also. So these are the sort of issues: infrastructure, facilities, transport, communication. These are the issues that we have to look into. That is why I was speaking about equitable distribution of facilities or infrastructures, that are available there. We have to look into those issues, and that is where our dialogue and discussion, especially when it comes to trust building, even when it comes to, like trustworthy, how do we say, elected representatives. Well, that is where we have to start. And now we have these issues. Even the 8th Hill Area Committee just gave a recommendation which was not tabled in the assembly. We have these issues. Like we have to, like look into those smaller issues, because they actually combine to make the issue that we are facing right now.
We'll come back to more of this when we discuss about the political parties and their ideology and outlooks. So to Tamil Rupachandra, Tamo, should I repeat the question?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Is it okay?
I can take it up.
Tamo, please take your time. Take your time, Tamo.
Thank you, Amarjit. Hoki chahi manga loirakpa matamda one set of people 60 people da aikoina aikoigi lebaksi governed of you haidana chahi manga sinagraba matunda ojik vote la matunda what can be the issue except to ask, have we been governed properly? Akoina public issue na haibasida chahi manga loirakanda ngasi mi anoba khalam daijis da akoina hangba yaba oiba yaba issue ama khataneba. Have you governed us properly? Aduki governed properly to targadi, there will be no issue of ADC, there will be no issue of the trust deficit, there will be no issue of petrol price, there will be no issue of gas price, there will be no issue of blockade, ban. So the basic question is, has there been a good governance? But because we know, politician, over last several decades, they are very poor in governing. So the best they can do is, public issue is it. It's kind of a myth. They manufacture public issue. They bring it to the people and they tell it, this is it. And if you don't vote it, this will happen. they will scare us into thinking that is the public issue. So the main public issue, I think, should be governance. Aikoisi noida chahi manga pire, akoigi lambi phabanga malabra, ising pangalabra, akoigi petrol price karaida lere, aikoi mai phajana lahalibra, aikoi amaga nungsi hanilabra. Si mayamzi should be the issue for any political party. But the unfortunate thing is, akoigi kurchi thangat nalaga pako, pung amma khut thangat nalaganda, nampu da nomai namaga pung khut thangat nalaganda, khut thangdabagi nungai baduda, asman angonda yam nungai halena, angonda vote ang piu haibado. Adugi type ta, akoida hojiksi public issue amad langchal lakadoi. All snippets of bad governance ki point me amdo. Ano hoji lai doi je mamangi da lagi ba issue me amji yengji ko. Ban blockade. Ban blockade se aikoi na zu request tauraga prajana pamdana aikoi na ban to view blockade to view haidana koi na toholo buzu natte. Adu lokthok kani du issue heline. Adu lokthok pangamba du da vote piona. So we are going to go through another series of manufactured issues, which every political parties are going to and working. Akoigi ngasi discussion itself tar kanda moi man what is it karino masidagi akoi kari take away lauraga akoigi manifesto the hapsige. Adigi o manifesto dana ama hapa manung dana ama tawba. So akoi na last ki yengbazi dan blockade report adudagi akoi ching tam ani ki divide si phalani kaidana go to hills kind of koi slogan same dana issue saga that the hill and valley are divided dana adugi issue sagat pire prajada injalame then I come as a savior. I'm going to stitch this divide, give me vote. A manufactured issue. So the question is, instead of discussing what public issues are, we must discuss what kind of issue our political party are going to manufacture for us. Nungsi chanana leramba community ingi marakta madugi cohesive oiba community to thugainaba. Now we have started issues on Kaugru. We have started issues on ADCs. ADC ki port se akoina manung chang yengbam chang ne ADC, and so as it is with Panchayati Ras. MLA humpu, whether in the Ching or whether in the Tam, Makogi power zibu, akoigi in the spirit of grassroots level governance ta. Ma magi panchayat ki pradhan mayam valley dasu Ching dana ADC ki member mayam da. Loina karigumba pitho kita aragadi nasi MLA mayam ziki mayumda lep kadowa kiudo MLA mayam jida sidaki Ching daki chinau mayam laga tampakta leriba MLA mayam ziki thonga anji da lep toribni ai adu nare adu BBU rims da changan biu na lep kadowa mayam do. Although once they give this power to the ADC members, or in case of Valley, akoigi pradhan sing the masigi power am loin pitokraba. Ching yenba kaino yenba kasi loin nama pradhan danji loin pitokraba. When nobody comes to stand in front of a MLA's gate, they will feel powerless. So it is in the interest of the 20 MLAs in the hills and 40 MLAs in the valley to unitedly work to undermine local body में आमगी power से. अधुना ADC दा ngasi हानलरमिबा ADC दा भजना power पीरगा थबक तवल्लबा. ngasi अखोई ADC की अखोई चिंगी MLA में पुल्लगा hill era committee ngarang pham ga torise to we darkar taramoy. But they are the one who don't want their things to be taken away. So they create an issue. This is what I do in it. And the issues a manufactured issue will be there in the hills, irrespective of political classes. Hi do never. Tamgi 40 MLAs na I koigi pangam toko powers amat pangandrabne. Hi they are going to go. The moment when the kara kandadi same tamgi 40 MLA duki group to pull laga government same do never. So it is a power play. Aduna public issue have say I koigi the issue yam like. For example, why people continue to die in Manipur today? Ako je nahan kanong me hangi COVID ki si asukam na center na ju pasha thadak re na union MOS Dr. Anjanangang na high re. Why are we dying? Who's responsible? Accountable? I ko ki praja singh ji who to hold accountable je khangdri aba aduna accountability shift amakak every political party, every politician will play when the election comes. Aina nate manani habese adugi dudane khoina issue sakal kadoise ana hojik se issue hai taragadi right now akoi joblessness public issue that I think people should bring it up, irrespective of whether you are in a hill or in the plain. Are you employed? Scheduled tribe or in a reservation pira matunda, kitang lapni ang kanjida. Every 10 years, scheduled tribe kisi sangpo pirimne. Do we all want to live as reserved forever? Which means that we will never be equal with others. Do we want to live unequal forever? If not, I koi ngasi reserve. Ana sum chahitra da chathari se. Who is to be held accountable? The hill people need to ask. Hangbambam changneba. Are we going to be scheduled tribe forever? What does scheduled tribe mean? Masay daw maitay humuk chong jalaga. We want to be scheduled tribe and neba. So what does that tell us? In case of valley, we think we should get as much equal treatment like the hill. And a khankal neba. That means the present status see I call it pain drive neba. But adugi pain the element to the issue and deba. We feel that the some issue pireva demand for ST adudacha targati. Whereas the same ST in a high disease, I call ST where I see chaukatreva 77 decades chaukatreva. Adu chamana to the maite chongelaga ST is becoming an issue never. How's it both the ST gangu issue? Taudu never. Aduna we are constructing manufacturing issues that are not an issue for political purpose. But so, the real issue is what? Real issue is governance is the real issue. So do we have a real governance?
Yes.
In absence of proper governance, if there is an absence of proper governance, who are to be held responsible? Current incumbent Mamchinatra. So the question is, through these programs and the ones that we are trying to do in Impact TV, Impact campaign for free and fair election and campaign. Right. We want this election. Election itself is an issue. The electoral process itself is an issue. So, but these are the things, these are the issues that those who are in power, those who have already been elected, they don't want this. So we are going to see manufactured issues of Kogru. We are going to see manufactured issues of you are endangered. तुम खतरे में हो है पोतो अदुना नोइजे तुम दोरम निको है बसे the hill MLAs are going to tell the hill people manifesto the hapoiko what you see in the manifesto and what they tell in the election campaign is two different things close campaign dai tu se noi sumaina void to tadi noi gi tu dorum niko noi minority micro minority ka noi tumma dong niko so fear is an issue sima orange choi puselak toram niko next da akoi gi governance fattaba habis da governance so ire habi report si da akoi na indoji ojigi micro community na chambu dumaina micro eba indicator map ama for example ngasi akoi joblessness ang sai ji ba that should be an issue but that will tell us but job phangan da base akoi na accountable when base political party amma natraga adu natabada akoi gi hojik leidiba akoi hojik ka gi ba incumbency sik ma'am je si ma'am je they should be held responsible adagi price rise why is it not going to be an issue gas ki price si pulpal ngam henjen gre now pandemic mi si leptri akoi gi lamji Imphal valley area khaktam khana seba valley area khaktam si 2200 square kilometer ne entire si 22000 ki 10% ni hai tar kadi some 8% is high ko but 2000 square feet है जेबा Singapore जी some 700 square miles so अखोई की वैली जिगा पाना बले सिंगा जी पिक बनेबा population wise it's got about 5 million entire Manipur 2.8 million मखोई दा single digit covid positive oikanda they are so worried अखोई जिदा ngasi mi tara plus nunti gi sigalak matam da government ta karimta clue leite how to tackle this issue we don't know what kind of model they are makhoi da no model kanu to dusate it's a pandemic international port ni already there are ways and means of tackling this covid it's only how you implement it akhoi na say the rocket science koi tammu dong nate ba there is always an established norm of how to control this pandemic. Every country is doing it. Pick one country which you think is a model. Adu mong du illa loi reba. Adu ngasi akoi mi siri, but that is not an issue.
Right.
Aduna yes. Intra tawning mo wale.
Tamo keno hai tare fazal point hai this tamo I think governance should be an issue. I think more or less also reflecting a majority of our opinions that we are raising this it is a failed state it is a state which failed to govern haibagi potulai ngai tamo clarification am sang ngai gi akogi Immanuel sam Jalal so peti haige akogi people lack of communications and people lack of awarenesses haibagi issue musulai ba tamo ngai gi manufacturer consents and manufacturer consent haibatare manufacturer issues haibatare akwai si issues deal do matam ding sai gi lack of awareness lack of communication haibigi pot amasu lakti lai ada aina sai gi angni sinang sai gi both electoral politics ki process tuma le adu gang sai gi public issues ma le akwai gi praja gi awareness na communication si ngaktna transformation si lakni hena khanbara natragana some structural changes like electoral reforms kumba hai tare ki financing ki account ki magi parties ki magi financing patterns aduga bribery ki issues maya masulai ka aduna natragana tamona hai bang require necessary administrative reforms maya ma adugum matraka ta natragana hygienic isna do we require largely a social auditing system where we will be able to fix our representatives and be made accountable. So, aina hang sai gi praja sida ngak lego awareness adu habigi pot su legi lega larger reforms structural reforms ama ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ election commission ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ suggestion ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯀꯣ financing ꯒꯤ bribery ꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ cases criminalization ꯒꯤ decriminalization ꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯔꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯁꯤꯁꯤꯒ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ large social auditing system ꯑꯃꯒ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯖꯥꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯏꯀꯩꯗꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯛꯄꯒꯤ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯗꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯈꯟꯕ ꯇꯥꯃꯣ ꯁꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗ ꯀꯔꯤ
Amarjit, akhoi, there is no one single silver bullet that will solve all our problems. Akhoi is a multi-layered, complex issue in India. I'm not talking about Manipur. Hojik Pegasus and Prasant Kishore ki matam ne. Ko. Pegasus and Prasant Kishore ki matam ne. So we cannot take everything lightly. But we should start with electoral reform. Major democracy ki magi main majority rule hai. But when you have 30% population ki vote phangba mi mana entire 100% ni matak the rule do yaba structure am nahi matam dadi all this awareness nunga it will go for toss. I did a story long time back Manipur gi da believe toromoy Manipur gi chingi see this is there in electoral cannot yaw chingi constituency amada some 18,000 plus labor electoral college ngi manungda 2,000 some khat phangaga MLA kare so and MLA ji I maming di log the bida karam banwada MLA ji karibe MLA ji some 2,000 plus phanga karibe MLA ji he happens to be a fresh graduate from Delhi University. His father got murdered and he stood and phanga. So when he came out from the college and entered into electoral politics, all that he would have thought is that as a young kind of father I will do a good governance as a kalam. But when he comes with the reality that I vote listing ani why should I go to that village and make his road? Why don't I just sit in Infal and do this election break up and then play all these electoral tricks? So electoral tricks allow we should have a system where at least you need 50% of the mandate. Me listing yang kai 50% do dinang chak ng bijang moem. 50% do dinang loin mo bright tong moem. So ako na social audit mungdit to by when aware about you may be very aware, but when you don't have the power to use that awareness, dangerous. I'm very aware of my rights, but the system that it exists, awareness I'm just seeing naraga, imungda, imada, nangi panguno, hagazi panganga, as like I eat on the limit of hiding them. Structures. So the question is, we need to ensure that those who rule us should have our majority. The majority ki support like mean 80% do divided over 20% katang phangba miduna karigumba akoi the rule to targadi aina nan Facebook post am dasum tawone akoi anytime when someone comes to a ruling penoda my mind is he would love to be a dictator. So similarly, what happened is that our electoral system is kind of producing small mentality produce that I see prasagi representative niko prajana kainom hairakpa matamda aisi mathang lothukiba yaibagi akiba dongonda leite. So awareness is okay, but along with awareness we should be ensured that our rights are protected. Akoi rights is protect tobo manana ba yam same ba sigi ruling class ina. For example, lok adalat ko adagi say, I was just going through it. Wow. Very. Lok Ayukta, RTI, Consumer Forum, RTI Thabi Natro Ziki, ADC ki mathakta RTI Thabi Natro, Ani, Koi Fa Fatna, Koi Fu Food, no Koi Chin Chiliza. They are aware that I can ask. I go ADC Sinjina, Chahi Asupogdi Sinagiva Pasadugi, Hisap PBO na RTI Thari Natro. RTI dugi answer P3 Natro ADC na. Why is this ADC shying away from giving this? Adugi ADC to the more power P targadi without a check and balances. Karama Makangi can over Kaduino. Aduna, the question is, I coina Huzikla structure ki Manumzida. I kogi Praja, I koigi Mihut Singje. Are we in a position to hold them accountable? Aduna, I awareness Dakartai, aware we was in a starting point because only after awareness, a question. Only after I am aware of my electoral system. Electoral system je pairena, sigi system jina di. I a society was super Yaruina. I Garigi bearing the address in the Dimapu Yobunga Maruinado, and realized of Targadi, I will ask for change of the bearing. I must first realize the capacity of my vehicle.
Right.
Vehicle governance vehicle Kanano, was the Pagera, Paroera, MLA Singing, Ado see my amzi accountable when Baki, see my amzi can be processed, must aware of the cartai, we must be aware. But along with the awareness, those who are in governing position, Makoy Mayam, just as Narangi ADC ki matangda, BJP MLA, Congress MLA, Chingni have a identity amadati, loin pulle. Oh, Molin pulla person bestowed never. Haying Chapanaba MLA sings him, Makogi salary and Kachaka, and the Loin Pundu never. Chingamaga Tamaja Pundu never. Aduna Punbazi interest based the pulle.
Right.
Manipur Zoo, IMSU Hayu, AMMOCOC Hayu, UNC Hayu, some
other political parties ki my interest based ideology we to the next round when we not talk say the yeah because issues of governance, issues of accountabilities, and basically more empowered citizen rather than manufacturing public issues and interest based ID narrow interest based again was the matam sikitang yangjilak pai tara duna second duga discussion kitang matam thamase second round issue say partly the test tawgre second round say akogi ai mu pathokchar ke question say dum kitang repetition bidi oibusu adum badu dum yeng siko issues may among the governance ki issue, development disparities ki issue, autonomy ki issues, migration ki citizenship ki aduga failed state and governance ki issues may aduga issues atopa serious issues may amasu issue in a double potsu later. Adu di see probable what are the probable political parties' outlook and worldviews on these issues? Elections live elections the compete the local parties more visions and worldview say partly the test say kari weber yai do the makoisi kari more outlook nataga more worldview kari idea have questions sima later broadly aduga an issue but sinang sagi electoral system says that nataga party system says that parties ne important oibra natragana vote late people natraga parties leaders individuals in the important oibra have questions ne sigi anigi questions tang amana ngasagi parties sing sina layer paya ba outlook na ki magi popular world views hai katra ideology hai katra magi positions hai katra high issues things da amana ngasagi party natraga individual ra matter to see individual politicians leaders I see what you or Jalal bigi obviously matang sagi Immanuel and Tamo over to Jalal.
Manipur da leriba akoigi hujiki waiba political party sing aduga political party sing sidagi nominate tawraga vote lepiba amasung vote karaiba missing siki leriba moigi mentality leriba situation si yengba taragati akoigi political party to the mana belongs to a political party to the masana henna important over masana henna priority piba to give potamayam saying young clearly and visible way ba potama madumayam sure when the su madugi poto tenasi avatar. Though how you lady ba system city akoi Jumna Naina Bagi Wani Aduga lady ba system siki totals koi failure city masiki system failure city lady ba koi India electoral system city masiki kaithara pra oibra and apena mana khali maruina akoi Manipur da matamamada koi lejaramba akoi indigenous akoi methodology have a tare lady ba community mayam che punna cohesive survivalism ki oiba methodology ma koi lejaramba Madu Haujiki Leriba India Constitution framework manung da kuch later kandati. Akoigi Marak Shida Chingna Tam the Tajarataba Tamgi Mina Chingi me the paint the Valerapa, Chingmi Masilgi Martam Kanarapa, Tami Masilgi Martazu Kanaba, Kalupamaga, Akoi Tajana Bang of Nartaba, Shigi situation Nama quite developed over Havata. Now Haujik Manga Laiva Quigi 2022 election Sida Quigi. Yamna achoba tax sabatare madudi akoi maruoina akoi leiriba ate akoi PT issues mayam adagi yamna particular issues mayam che masigi poching si chatring ge mamangda akoi afaba akoi Manipur se akoi kandaba yati hana khanba yamna patriotic sentiment leiba adugumba elected timama akoi amtang akoi Manipur society na akoigi Manipuri sing na puthok tragadi akoigi Manipur se masi no shoidana irakna gani masini akoina thamdaning is right leriba system sida chathaba taragadi lakadori be election sidagi puthora kadori ba product to madusu akoi mamangi hokiba last 5 years sida akoina uriba sidagi anowa thuina uroi aduga masidagi hena fataba situation khara lakadori sina akoigi ching amasung tamgi marakte amna achoba divided politics sama Hanadi Akogi, Lalho was in Barakta Sum Leramba, Toan Ba Kogi separatist element Kabuki Barakta Sum Karleramba, Adugi Poto Hojiti, legislators in Yaushalapa, political activists in Yaushalapa, the CSO sing Yaushalapa, Duga, Akogi comprehensive by environment Nama, Chingam Sumtam Barakta, divide the way Abugi, Adum situation, Amada Manga Sanchala Kogi Poto, Uri Haribo. The Tampaki
ideas I politics is like personalized and groups and ethnic interests so in a narrow interest from the Sale Hybra. Hype as I party give my certain ideology Natragamadi belief system that's a promoter individual interest in a Sale Hybigi Pola Southern Haisha.
Individual interest chatpagi pot amani aduga haujikna amuk individual interest chatpasing duge maraktagi amuka akoi ethnic interest lakadori baduga ethnic interest lakadori ba potsiga aduga personal interest chaliba potuga ani sina 2022 ge matung dadi haujik leiba phiam jidagi hena mangba situation ama lakani haibo khalon dugi ai thapani
political parties say crystallization of public issues and interests through a worldview guided by certain ideology. Political parties sing siki ke haitarege magi Manipur political parties sing magi nature of functional say masagi. One is Jalal and Immanuel, and Immanuel also mentioned about ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯟꯖꯥꯎ ꯄꯥꯏꯕ ꯔꯤꯆ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁ ꯃꯅꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯄꯩꯁꯥ ꯄꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯃꯦꯇꯔꯁ ꯇꯧꯕꯗ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯏ so ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤꯡꯉꯤꯕ question are you suggesting some sort of inner party culture of democracy or inner parties long functioning structural functioning ama leiba mathau tai aduga haibagi pot amasu haibra don haibe yabra Jalal
Party ki oiba hujiki leriba kanosi structure aduga party ki oiba wakhalon se masi khara rectify tawagi khara justify tawagi mathau taba khara correctify tawagi mathau tabagi lei maramdi party sing sidagi puthora kadori ni haujiki kanu sing se candidate sing se aduga amuka party ga koi legislature ga ani gi marakta leinaba relation sida koi party gi ideology duna kadom da chaliba legislature sing gi ideology na kadom da chaliba sia khoida yamna convincing oide yamna khoida confused lei aduga loina na party si koi gi legislature sing duna magi apam ba mong da dum sijina bagi mong kui kai gumba sijina ba ya roida bu ara kana defect to ba adagi host trading to bagi mong kui aduna party gi ideology da koi gi inclination to ba adum ba political leaders si kya yaw da ba recently koi adum party abadagi even koi party tu gi dai ta leiba mi sing so adum party thadu achana gi bagi khona adum ba situation leibani na koi party gi ideology tu da koi legislature singduna work to rakaduri bani ha ba sia koi dum masi convincing waide ha ba tare ana masi gi system se party sing sina magi thadu ra iban no kanu sing se nominee sing se masi party gi ideology phajana koi gi convince to halaba party gi ideology da commitment phajana leiraba loina party gi ideology to da Manipur gi hauji need of the hours the leiriba sigi situation sing se phajana address to ba aduga masigi weba chapchaba commitment amada koi praja gi thabuk tawnana bagi commitment da election si thingnar ko taragadi ahena improvement leiba adum bas phibam amadi lakya ena satowe.
Anyway, over to you, Immanuel. Should I remind you the question again?
Fine. Actually, it's fine. I actually have no further comments on what Jalal has said, and but I just wanted to add one or just two more kind of like a rejoinder, or let's say an addendum to what Yumnam Rupachandra has said. There are definitely manufactured issues in Manipur, whether it's in the hills or in the valleys, but there are also definitely existing issues which are not manufactured recently, at least, which existed from way back. So, then oftentimes many political parties and also even, how do we say, like candidates, often magnified, so to say, kind of like try to magnify, try to kind of like, mutate existing issues into a completely different issues. That is another thing. But I just wanted to add that there are definitely existing issues which cannot be ignored and which should be addressed.
Effectively.
And these issues have to be addressed. Like, we can't just say that they may be manufactured, but many of these issues are here to stay until and unless they are addressed properly. So I wanted to just add more points to what Yumnam Rupachandra has said, because otherwise some people might be, like they may just say, oh, okay, then everything that exists in Manipur are manufactured. Then that's going to go wrong. So I just wanted to add that all issues are oftentimes manufactured, but they may not be recent, they may be from long way back. The only thing is, if they have been staying there for a long time, then they definitely need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed. Yeah. And then political parties also, even the government also have to be very careful. I am not saying monitoring here, but I am saying that, like Jalal has said, they all have to be really, really careful so that things are not, blown out of proportion. They should be within proportion, not blown out of proportion just for political gains. This is something that I just wanted to add. Otherwise, thank you.
Yeah, I think we all agree to this fact that there are real issues which need to, there are real issues. I don't think Damo representatives mean that we don't have real issues. We have issues. I think what Damo is talking about, that the nature of our electoral politics is merely based on certain issues which they never take it seriously. Maybe it may reflect in the manifesto, but after that they're just forgotten in, and the systems operate that as if like this issue never matters and the voice that we raise ever matters. So how do we correct that, and the question is that how do we merely make those real issues that you are saying and real issues, and what are the necessary reforms and structural changes that we need to brought in? Haibagi post that. We'll come back to, so I think so little shortage of time. So Tamo, Rupas, do you think that political parties matters, or individuals who are in these political parties matters more now? Neither in a power party or an important way.
Kainone, Kuigi Ziki was up on a hypedo, but like you have already made a clarification, but what I tried to tell or say was that the issues are there, both in the hill and the plains. Manung Jamugan the issue after never. But the question is, election lakanda Kuigi Ranti Toriba Kamu Signa Adu addressed of Deva, because they don't have the governance capacity. Akoi lambi sabiu haidana henglep ki mayamna vote thada ki ba MLAs hai. Next time ma vote loge na lag matamda henglep ki lambi ki wangang way ba. The henglep ki lambi ki issue is there. Henglep lambi sa ai sa chalu re ba. Saktiman to chat dia wab ne ba. But handan na madu issue and henglep ki people na pukhat pa targazu MLA duna ai la the same ni ai ne ba. But next time again after 5 years he comes. That is not the issue. Maitei Valley adum the manufactured so issues are there. Because of those issues, you will also change your MLAs. Now, coming to political parties and their world views and all, manifesto that they will come up with all these incorporate Vision 2020, Vision 2030, Vision 2050, Vision mayam same aga. The question is, Maduki road map. How do you plan to achieve all those visions? So then how do you come to power? You come to power on language the winnability have a potstella winnability aduna any political party amada nangna ticket p basic another p high targeti people who can win. And what do you mean by that? People who can win means people who have muscle power, people who have money power. Those are the people.
Numbers matters, issue don't matter.
Yes. Aduna, Aikoigi Prazamiamzi, Moji Kamain together, Aikoi Aina. Every time when I talk to radio or something, I say, Lupa Changa, Lauraga, both had the Saru Aduki Lupa Changa, do Haying, Ising Tinky, Uncle laying of Duze. MLA do the Lupa Changa, Loga, both had the Bimota, Lupa Changa, Duna, Nang Haying Lay Duizi, Ising 2000 liturgy, Ising do a mini Tatado, Amakataneva. But you're going to buy it whole throughout the year. On the Lupa Changa, Piram Manodu Sarukta, you give me pipe water. Haidana Haibi Mohuta, Lupa Changa Duga, as a way, Adugi Machane, Adugi Masune, Adum the Posilunchat. So, people who can promise that, people who give that, Aduda Bochekarani. But these people, they need a political platform. They need a political platform because independent when a lepagadi, Horimanti, Pangowagadonina, political parties are used by these winnable candidates to get power. Simple as that. A political party is needed for him to get power. Power Pangdrakandani Hojiki, Haibi Griba, Chongtok Chongchin Tawedo. It's simply for power. Aduna, Akoi Maniputa, Jokchat Lisi, Akoi candidate ki winnability, Adagi political party Duna, Nangi no Maitar. Adagi next, Akoi AMMOCOC, AMMOCOC Lisina, Manipur, overall Akoi Mataka Lisina, salaries, Tolop Chang Nankana Ping of Niese. Adu si ilakanda center the labor political party do Manipur pai targadi tolop chang naini e wakalo no mam le and that is another factor.
Right.
And the factor C, national level da who is in power, state level da who can win election, adugi election do adugi candidate to align with the national party which can ensure fund for Manipur. Because akoi kokta akoi kara kanda Manipur se revenue kamai kahan gada ke eba khan MLA natraga mantri di ai tang brang khalleba yaudi harga di sawrkani ko aduna akoi ki Manipur ji next 5 year da akoi revenue earning weba state on thokke rather than revenue seeking hagadra natraga fund seeking state tagi contributing state on thokke haina khanba in 5 years that I'm in power haina khanba akogi public representative si khara adum pat prana khalleba adumba
Tamo in brief tamo hai say winnable candidate and winnable party hai tare adugi
power assuring party hai tare
hoi adugi anyway so I say now let us open for discussions, and I think there must be a lot of questions. So those who are in a Zoom meeting, you can ask questions through chat box. And I think James will help me to also bring in more questions from us, which I raise in Facebook platforms. So is there any questions? Now it's open for questions. Be short and precise. And if certain questions directed to certain panelists, please identify. Tamo, you have a questions? You want to ask straight away, or you want to put in the chat? Okay. Yeah. Oh, let's carry on. Yes.
Yeah, I just need to make a little. I can only that. Okay. It's lovely, enriching way of the panelists. I just wanted to raise Nahanchu misgovernance the bottom of the Torre. Nahanchu Yumnam mine first session of Mamangi Sunday, misgovernance main issue in the Torre. But I did not clarify the meaning of what's going. Governance, I would say, means never. It's a means to an end. Ako'y nakanggaba say, ako'y nakaw say, madupagaling kalkay nada. Sumdoy niya means deploy pasang ito bungam dawa haiti. Adu mana nga sagi setup to ribe issue. For example, ako'y governance sa say rule of the facilitating channel iba mi equity, equitable distribution of wealth and services among citizens sa laibang ba transparency iba. Adagi ako'y mi empower to man ba papahaba masigi goal mayam sigi achieve to na ba labor po to ne ba ako'y na governance na ako'y da masida governance means or di sagi equity labor adagi empower to ba kahai ba po mayam sine ako'y nga sagi thabak phangda ba adagi ni certain chingi aspiration kunda electrify to ngam da ba lambi to na sa ta ba hayo mayam se governance in business level. I quite a goal with the issue my amsida laiva potsiga governance in Maryland. When a public issue have on the Swagi Montoon the day. Poach a Pazana Kanagadi. However, put my amsi war na kaino, battle na kaino, like the call. And the gi, I couldn't put a chip about the issue and to raise the issue of money that no Kumjala Kanda. Say for example, Hill Valley divide or Hill Valley divide the year with the Pochi majorly Anitu Munjala, for example, Magi recognition, the aspiration like drama, identity associated with the language, the culture, and my thing on the Nang, the known this programs and do high Rama boy. These are called cultural identity tied over. Filming, politics of recognition. The politics of redistribution and wealth and services, goods and services say equitable and distribute the rebrat of the Brahayun say, he'll very divided and tight the lady. So, how far identities we take the West Cam to me? State structure the Kayam than excess like the ST Kamusi labor like the Brahayun say. A good Chizan Deva, Pangang the Nango like Dong Tower. If you really inquire what is the socio-economic status of different ST communities and SC communities, you will find that some of the ST groups are far better off than many of the other ST groups in terms of the access to state power. IPS, IAS, bureaucrat, mantri, literacy rate, doctors, proportionally in the teen and power. Scheduled tribe lay ako ni kango ko adu gayam chini sopo scheduled tribe so le do na broad brasameter ga mai kai ching mai na khai ko se public issues jo mun na inform oi da na ne khanjam da sai ge manufactured highways. So we need to know what is manufactured issue na kari no real issue na kari no hai ba ma ye un cha so ai ne lo sen ai ni sa un hande bai wani one governance basically means to an end. Highly bug means to an end. Chip to that. According to chip to very big end, related is deploy to Bungamo. For example, example of this. Aspa extend the way. Aspa extend the lawful and say rule of law establish a high governance to establish a rule of law. I call the law Chanapumanda. Mean it happened to look away. Set the same thing do something. Can't take you India constitution, yard, the law of the criminal jurisprudence, the Marilena implication of retrospectively at the extent of we say, Kanahona Supreme Court of the High Court, and then Hana Katala, the women hang in December extent of your class. So issues is not sang in order to address them, in order to achieve them. I do report in anything.
Okay. I think that's more of a comment and and clarification. So the question of recognition as well as distributions, and whether the governance is the means or the objectives. Have a question related. Any questions? Okay. I have to leave him there. Okay, Dr. Immanuel has requested he wants to leave for other program. I think that's okay, no? Immanuel wants to leave. There's some program.
James, Facebook.
Is there any questions from
questions direct
in the Zoom meeting? You can yes, you can ask questions. Hana can introduce the visual. Sharma Roses.
Okay.
Roses, 1 minute. Immanuel, how much time you can be here? 5 minutes. Okay, quickly, so that Immanuel can also share some clarification.
Yeah. I think panelists by points in I from them questions agency any speaker na okay. Masigi posi the agency what pagi the agency si kanan oidoy no hay bigi achobo issue na kali for example masagi public awareness ki or hay ba sa ito Rupachandra na accountability ki or fixed bagi or magi laiba governance ki laiba put mayam si moy masana natraga laiba party do na di tawroy the opposition na su tawdre ado ita di magi labor agency mana high using say public awareness o ino na bagi po naman dai kadra high bagi wahang sing isam na the Mizo National Front M akogi Mizo Jalal pau Mizo Ram daga bagi public organization naam sing to ise ada masida ai questions na akogi Manipur gi conflict si am conflict labor conditions na maram ora kanda idea akoy nga sai ching dadi my organization wari sana bada live organization naam si election day inform to aga Mokoi agenda the issues in my political parties in the issues rest of report like Adu Manipur Belly posts that the Magi armed conflict direct engaged story Adu talk the Lakavanam or the Kanda high agency posted the electoral politics the Masila Pogalay Adu electoral politics na Masi Salt Wongamoy. High Bagi issue or magi agency direct when mo involved toraga mo ni
Right.
changa mobilize tong nabagi space to high level conflicts na valley the yam chawna stumbling block mo oina lebra other masigi conflicts in later taragadi everyone will trust on the electoral politics and then aduna electoral politics to the law and book solution na pira kanda madugi emancipatory movement ma legadra madu late
Right.
conflict ka mari leina ba
Right.
Right.
I think I think because for the sake of Immanuel, I think what Rogers is asking is issues of agency, and to be more specific, he's mentioning there's I mean, question is who should be the agency beside political parties who has to champion these public issues and who has to make the political parties accountable. Higher question. That's one question, I think. Another question, there are certain issues and the issue which normally certain agency or section of society don't think that this can be hopeful to be sort of solved within the electoral politics, the electoral systems of India happening. What do you feel?
So more specifically on, like in the context of the armed conflict in Manipur, so many actors are not directly engaged in this electoral politics, but in the hill areas when they come for the talks or talk with the government, so they are now actively participating and they are representing the voice through electoral politics.
So
but in the valley area, this is not going to happen, and that is why many of the civil society organizations are going away from the electoral politics. So they are even not coming to the agenda of the election, or they are not trying to make awareness about what the electoral can come.
Got it, Rogers, got it. Please, yeah. Immanuel, I hope you get it, what he's asking.
Actually, when it comes to the hill areas of Manipur, let me come to that actually. Rogers, right? He was speaking about MZP, Mizo Zirlaipo in Mizoram. But you know, like the example of Mizoram can't exactly be taken can be equated with Manipur, because even in Manipur we have so many. We have Naga, Mizo, Chin, Kuki, but in Mizoram the population is more or less homogeneous, even though there are so many tribes. But they all identify themselves as more or less as Mizos, or at least they kind of like subscribe to the Mizo identity. So the civil society organizations, and not only the CSOs actually, the church plays a very, very pivotal role when it comes to election politics, especially the Synod Church, for example, in Mizoram, which is very influential. But in Manipur, even in the valley or even in the hills, when it comes to election politics, the church maintains silence. And actually, this time we are actually trying to, you know, like we are working on it actually, even at least in my own community. I don't know about the other communities, but at least in my own communities, we are trying to wake up our church leaders also. Please, if not directly, at least please indirectly involved, you know, so that because people listen to you. People listen to you because you're the spiritual leaders. People listen to you. And if you speak one word, they will listen to. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to, you know, engage our church leaders also when it comes to this upcoming politics. We want them to be engaged. You know, if they're not willing directly, at least indirectly, please be engaged. So at the same time, we have our other CSOs who are also have been engaged, but because of the other third-party involvement, many people are scared to come out. But anyway, I think the situation is changing, as I have mentioned earlier. The situation is changing. The political environment is changing gradually, and maybe, who knows? Maybe the next election it might be quite different from the election we had last time. So, but when it comes to agencies, I think you know, like religious institutions and then social institutions cannot just, you know, like be just passive, you know, spectators from the outside. They also to be, at least in their own way, be involved so that we can elect the right representative.
Okay. Okay. So I think there are a few more, there are a few questions coming here in the chat box before other panelists can have their say on what Dr. Roses is saying. There's one question on why can't we have 30 MLA is for Valley and Hills. I think he's referring to a sort of electoral reforms where the numbers of MLAs can be sort of changed into more, bring more parity. I think this might be one, this is one question. Another is why people fail to understand economy. I think if I have to rephrase it, why many of the economic issues are not main issues in our electoral system and electoral party systems. Issues of poverty, issues of deprivation. In other words, how can we discuss economy issue as something something different from the other main issue that we are talking about, recognitions and identity, territoriality. So that is one question. And the third, I think, I think over to the panelists, this question of agency, Tamo Rupachandra as well as Jalal, and the question of numbers of MLAs and the issues of economy. Tamo, you can start, Tamo, then
okay. Agency matang si hojiki Immanuel na haigi dumaina akhoi state se homogeneous population ma leitaba, but more importantly governance leite many areas. The state has no control over the vast area of. Now, civil societies, they don't carry guns. Whatever good that they do has to be backed up by state law and law agencies. Aduna horen vote lan torami haidana thingani in the thoreba church kambudu gi maningda Manipur state police na chap chana lepi raga. Society has it to implement the Manipur police name. Nangi Handak Moreda Ugitungai and a vast areas of Manipur, a state control Makadalaitabanina. Any civil society that comes forward would not be able to implement. So I don't say governance is a means never. But that means is is woefully inadequate means. So from that, all issues if there is a malpractice in election, so in my career as reporting, Aina Thaina TV journalist Wena Senapati reporting chat Kanjida Aikoigi cameras presiding officer Duna Ayuk Pung Barota ding among the Thadable Loigre Hire. Kamaito no me going to Prahikan, Emoy Amanilaga Loin Thadagre. Sigi Portsi, Akoina, we brought it back to Imphal and we told the CEO, Chief Election Officer, the high res, my Sita Kanjita. We have got no report, I got to Milisa level. Because he's not in, he doesn't have the capacity to implement his own orders. And the Adumba situation, all across the state, like Mina, it will be foolish to expect something like Mizoram Gito. But nevertheless, pocket where we can implement, for example, Kano area digi Horaga, I coin up for me Tagapa Hodarga di Valley the key. It will catch on Haitareko. Next Hojiki 30 Chingda Hilda Lebe Yatra Hypato. Hojiki ladies in Manipur Giwoina 60 constituencies never. 60 constituencies the Akoi 20s in the hill area that I have one ever. Hill area is the 20 tie. Aduga 40s in a thumb area that I have never. So depending on Akoigi Magi Karihatare area size, Aduga Kantoga delimitation of Lepi. Now, delimitation ama lak matamda depending on akoi hujik leiba controversy mapandagi changakpa mini khangde natraga akoi gi over 300% decadal growth ka leiba jaga ada da yetna ba khalai du adu mayam du akoi gi phajana electoral process si clean up torakanda akoi we should provide equitable kanomadi delimitation me dom changeba mi singsi constituency khudingi mi ji more or less 30,000 hengera 40,000 hengera 20,000 hengera adana manahan bam di changeba. Now the question of ching the 30 natraga tam the 40 have tam the 30 have potidi madugi exercise dugi thorka do potneba, but somewhere along the line akoina sum ujabada 2040 ki potsi akoi sum Manipur ki electoral ki discussion jida masida ki information ji khar lan ba haigadra natraga khara masida ju akoi issue our manufacture to haigadra ladies chingdana 20 khaktang pire tamdana nipu logre there is inequality have problem leire question di aina masigi ji some akoi gi discussion thread am dadi aina explain tawno bo nei akoi le ji 60 neba 60 si manungda government of akoi election commission gi wena lady si 19 namakhakti 60 si mongda 19 namakhakti chingi area da taba 19 jidi atopana vote lepa yadana bana ST singi reserve tora thamgra bane 39 40 amana tampaki ji unreserved never. Unreserved means anyone can compete from there. Just like Manmohan Assam da laga vote lepa dumaina ching da ki popular leader ma laga thangui banda lepa dum jaya. So basically for akoi 60 is the 119 has been reserved for ST, 1 is reserved for scheduled caste. Aduga remaining 20 is in a unreserved never. Anyone scheduled caste amana zule pa yaya. Kapching dagi dupama hokalaga thamui banda lei matamda ma general wena dum lepada karata thimbale hoya. He has right. But scheduled caste ki ne reserve tograbadu Imphal dagi mi machalaga lebu di yaro hoya. Or kapching da lei jaba general naman lepa yaro hoya. So basically 20 is reserve tograbani aduga 30 remaining 40 is na generally an apoina tampaki lamjida anyone can settle labgi mathakta anyone any citizen of Manipur irrespective whether he is an ST or SC they can contest election and never aduda generally arguments hai theoretical ni kabanga moi hai never. But the question is theory should precede any good theory should precede a good practice never. Theoretically yadragadi practice na klaw idu never. Aduna when we have seen people like Obama, you never thought that a black American can ever get elected as president of America. Adagi Manipuri context ta akoi ne heg yeng matamda minority dagi akoi Alimuddin chief minister oigiba. We are still proud of that those few aberration naigadra. Adu risang kaising na before Ibo be longest serving chief minister oigiba. These are indicators that akoi politics ida kara inclusive oiba potamadi yawe. Now the question of akoi gi kangarang nandres sobom yawi why in some hill areas you have 48,000 and some areas the 18,000 kadale madumba anomalies into the we must under the delimitation jida after proper census census because we cannot allow delimitation on a false census adu edargadi angam bana census si modify tawraga magi henna kanu longna bo honna bagi potama lakani. Another thing sometime when we think of allowing additional constituency government of India another thing policy ama sudarkar tayo Akoi India is 1.3 billion never. 1.3 billion is too much. India wants to reduce its population never. Adu housing riba constituency based on population je tarok matam dadi. And when demographic wars are there, when communities in political powers corner to no honor matam dadi. Akoi aigi numbers chakona no bada. I go against the policy of the nation. Policy of the nation I ichayam poken why never. But I electoral compulsion jina I icha manga tarapu agadi. I constituencies ani dhogadi. I MLA madagi MLA ani we do ni never. So our national policies in the conflicting we are rewarding those who are not following the national policy. Bangladesh Bangladesh latest UN kainoda makoigi birth rate education Bangladesh now it was family amada angang nipan polam bagaze educated or padagi yam batar padagi 2 da handarakpa 3 da handarakpa mayam yaure aduna adugi reflection da gini hojik Bangladesh ki GDP wange kana koi bang wari sana ise because Bangladesh okay adu India da di hojik lo ise karino we want my population to be big so that my number of MLAs will be increased, but that is detrimental in overall health of the nation because nation wants to reduce its population. And Manipur also should want to reduce its population.
The question number should if the number of MLAs increase toraga high issues effectively deal torakadra high big issue musulaiko. Haji representation matomtana issues deal torakadra Ladiba public issues effectively Taugadra Havigi issue.
No, see, Amarjit, if you compare, if you compare constituency population of Manipur and that of an MP, just compare it. How much one MLA serves in big states like MP and UP? Moida Masinga no Moida. I go say the listening tribe ban Kuntrasi, I'm Chowri Lori never. Makoi MLA Mana Kamanto River population to Yemune. Just go. So if you go by that, we are getting way more MLAs than we should be getting.
Right.
But because of our terrain, because of if you compare with an average Indian big population state, heartland states, you can compare to Oba. Moya, the way that the MLA Kunnaga Kuntranaga Gineva, avoid the Humpu never ladies. So if you compare
representation, identity and territorial politics as well as other kind of politically sensitive issues in mix up one is number increased always it depend on certain exercise and certain amendment and certain reforms adu mechanism amana upper house labor based on proportional representations of those areas underrepresent tawre khaliba natragana representation tawragana henna phani haibagi pochi labor area kharadugi concerning upper house kumba labagi issue ama
that is definitely something we can look for Manipur
another is that we can look for more empower local governing institution maybe how should we empower hill area committee have a mechanism mayamazu discussion di labia but of course number issues
if we ensure that electoral reform da 50% darka tai hai targadi say some area da I will have to I cannot get vote only appeasing my community I mix community do pulla ka 50% phangdoi neba haujiti karino da community ate myam do fracture point to honraga I 30% kak leiba I vote karga I MLA oidui neba but I 50% phang matam da if I have to work for other community then naturally my kind of thing will change my outlook will change I cannot be abusing one community to get a vote because moi vote ai daga taramina so the question is a democratic norm majority rule live report say Fazana implement on honaba. We are having minority rule.
Okay. We'll come back to it, Jalal, what do you feel about this question of numbers of MLA? Same question, as well as this issue of economic development issues. Economy is the main issue in oil. I have a question. Share Tony. Unmute your.
Sorry. Economic issues masi akoina tangai phadana avoid to sunya yaroi daba yamna maru eba issue amani aduga masi akoi tangai phadana address to gadabani aduga political party singsina magi election manifesto da yamna akoi clear oiba akoi economic ki oiba road map ama Manipur gi state ta laiba akoi economic condition aduga lakaduriba ta akoi tamsida akoi paikhat kadaba adugumba economic road map ama Puthua Kanda, Madu intellectual level, the academician single level, the Yamna Fazana, Kanana in a way Tanzania, Matik Chana, Lohaning Bagia Pamba, quite the Howie, Aduga, Makata, Bada Quiki, Kanuki, numbers of America, Quiki Sitsi, Masigi Matangse, Zasan Equitise, Masi Waitragati, Masigi areas, the Yamna, so what problem lay, and Quiki. Lairiba kanosida Manipurgi hauchiki lairiba system sidadi agogi khara improportionate waiba khara chanadaba adagi khara irregularity khara dia khoi yamna chawna mami tare ada population gi matang da su ngasai khoi ge tamo Rupachandra na thambi ki ba khoi yam back waiba agogi census report khoi kano toraga lai aduda based tor kanda khoi gi delimitation to bagi wafam la agati akwai yam chumdaba pot ama thorakani habdu akwai madu yamna phajana chummena dumai thamjage aduga akwai delimitation amati yamna akwai yam clear oiba yam proper oiba aduga hojiki lairiba akwai community gi dynamics se ethnic communities me yam gi dynamics se yamna phajana chumne address toba yamna proportionate oiba adugumba delimitation ama khakti akwai misang shanga gi wana taba koi masi yamna mathau tai Manipur gi tung koina chanaga doriba koi gi kano se masi de amna maru oina base tor kanina kai khali 1972 da tawkhiba delimitation do haujik phawba chanaga lairini adui taraga di haujik tawdoriba delimitation se amuka another 50 years ama koi chanagi doini masi gi manungda koi gi lakadoriba kano si problem jingchi address to go ngamgadaba adumba makhalgi delimitation amati tangai phadra bra na khali aduga electoral reforms masisu yamna mathau tabra na khali aduga khoi gi ngasai gi akoi upper house ki wafam do madu yamna tangai phadana madu akoi gi Manipur da su madu lehanna ba khoi demand to ba madu lehanna ba khana ba chungani madu idea do puthok pa chungani ana khoi su fil tawi aduga ngasai gi numbers of MLA da chinga tamga 30 yenaba yabra haiba na chingba dugi matang da di 30 oisira natraga 40 oisira madu akhoi gi apamba da hekta lepadi yaroi magi leriba population gi ratio to the yenga kanda proportionate oina karamba system amagi makhada akhoi set tawda gi habado khoi madu gi chapchaba rule ma la kanda madu setting tawba chungani aduga hojik example oina picture kanda Pangan community the su koi same question se koi gi the su lai koi Manipur da hojik si chaurang na 3 lakhs population gumba weramani haina koi na presume tawi mamang da 2011 da 2 lakhs 39,000 yawgani ado hojik 3 lakhs gumba nearly 3 lakhs gumba di leramani na presume tawi ada koi gi chingi jaga da 26 rakhraga tampak da 40 le hoyaba Tampaki 40 level sige manungda akwai minority pangan community na vote thada base 21 assembly segment da thadeba tawatabo pangan na akwai pangan gi voter singsina majority oiba adum assembly segment di only ama khaktane ba lilong khaktane ba atai da di pangan ji loinamak minority oina yaweba da hana di matam kharagi mamang da di akwai election gi matam da community polarization gi pochi yam kanna leiram de di matam daga di pangan siu akoi matam ama khakta punna taret phawwa ka ba matam su yaw hre da hojik ti akoi gi asengba reality da dia khoi minority oina leiba pangan sina bot ka ba yam bagi chance yam nem greba aduna maram wera kanda right to represent in the assembly se khoi gi su chance yam nem ba hai tare sigum bagi issue lai aduna delimitation da khoi gi fair oiba just and equity the based over adumba proportionate oiba representation nama lakhaning bagi apam ba khoi site gi so dum leijari ado community punama ki so adu gi aspirations leibiram gani mado khoi kai khomna jai na khoi gi high possibility khoi gi delimitation ji so knocking at the door ni ado taraga di masida khoi 100 lakador ba 22 gi election sida lakadori ba khoi gi elected singdo madugi wakhalon gi yamna makha pon gadori khoi gi makhoi syamna maruoi haijari ba aduna makhoi sida madugi commitment leiba madugi yamna misang sangha natabida yamna chumna khoi gi manipur sigi oiba tungi marai ba gi tamakta khalaga achumba adumba proportionate oiba delimitation ama to honing bagi apam ba leiba adumba elected team mama koina andaki 22 sida puthokpa ngam taragati madugi pot to soideng realize to gani thajai aduga ngasai gi kanogi da roses ki wafam da kitang ai changjirabge roses na thambi ki ba koi agency gi matangsi koi chume tamo Rupachandra na ngasai thambi ki ba degi koi Dr. Varte na Immanuel Varte na thambi ki ba wafam du chumi Mizoram ga koi ga kanosi kitang khena ba context khar di lai adu araga su Mizoram gi koi gi processing koi gi kai hatare exemplary oina koi Manipur da kari gi koi loroi tori no khena ba su khena na akoi mafam jida koi na practice tawdana ba kari gi khana roi tori ba no haiba pochi ai masigi wafam chi thamjage maruina civil society organization singsi masi ai samak su civil society organization ta belongs to jaba adumba mioi amani aduna civil society organization singsi responsibility se masi khajiktang ai pen phati haiba tare ai samak yauna
adugi question dune mathang da haitare aina ji khalamise hauji like ba CSO sing sigi magi responsibility natraga magi like status ki matang sida CSO gi matang sida tamo kari oda kai how far CSO can play an active agency to fix to bring accountable form of government to make the political party responsible to us. Can CSO who are interested in bringing electoral reforms or bringing public issues in the electoral domain, what kind of intervention CSO can take? And as usually CSO ki films in adugi role si tawe na kanbana taga tawe abagi film the labor kamaina we. Tamo Jalal and horoga Jalal. Do tamo report like say. Okay, okay. Tamo Rupachandra haibira.
Oza Amarjit, Oza huziki issue tu lautring. Ada question nang tang kamserunge.
I cannot tawbiyo. Just I can lakse. Huziki question si CSO ki question se. Adu matung dah hangke. Masih kira mari lain abra. Huziki CSO question si mari lain abra.
Mari di lain abra yang kalau tu na question issue discuss tu kita hang serunge. Saya Tamaru na Tamaru Rupachandra na haibi giba kasi
Hanan introduce to bibi agidra.
Yani
saksa kapiyo kan am tu.
Ay Dr. Giridhari ay kinone Mizoram University da Management Department na winilajabane. Kinone usa ngasay Tamaru Rupachandra na haibi giba say misgovernance ki. Ako'y na tawriba debate na discussion se ngasay ako'y ki limitation mayamam lay maruay na structural reforms gumbasidi little kitang laptop na thamagan immediate oibna tabida ako'y 2020 tivsidi ako'y thongjin the lep ba kanomni na as a people as a citizen ako'y na kitang expect to be abase within existing structure sida asay misgovernance ki port ma pukale aduga chumju chummene khale asi governance ina asay 5 years rule to matam da koina questionable citizen na moina koina question hang chummi moi to satisfy oita ga de koina re-elect tabadwin ana miss governance ki matang sida ngasagi e-governance tagi horaga transparency amna lawba adagi digitization maruina central government gi initiative state ta yorakan da di yamna kai hatare yam setback goibe yamna ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯗꯕ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯄꯦꯟꯗꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯄꯤꯄꯜꯒ ꯒꯣꯚꯔꯟꯃꯦꯟꯠꯒ ꯁꯝꯅꯕꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯦꯛꯖꯤꯀ꯭ꯌꯨꯁꯟꯁꯤꯗ ꯋꯥꯠꯄ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯗꯦꯟ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯀꯥꯎꯟꯇꯦꯕꯤꯂꯤꯇꯤꯒꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯦꯁꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯔꯣꯖꯦꯁꯅꯁꯨ ꯍꯪꯕꯤꯈꯤꯕ ꯑꯦꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯤꯗꯀꯣ ꯇꯥꯃꯣꯔꯕꯅ ꯊꯝꯕꯤꯔꯝꯃꯦ ꯀꯩ ꯏꯝꯄꯦꯛ ꯇꯤꯚꯤꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯒ꯭ꯔꯥꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯄꯤꯄꯜ ꯑꯦꯋꯦꯔꯅꯦꯁꯀꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯏꯅꯤꯁꯤꯌꯦꯇꯤꯚ ꯈꯔ ꯂꯧꯔꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯍꯥꯎ ꯇꯨ ꯑꯦꯂꯦꯛ ꯒꯨꯗ ꯀꯦꯟꯗꯤꯗꯦꯠ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒ ꯁꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯑꯗ ꯗꯦꯟ PCRM itself ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯗꯤꯕꯦꯠꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯈꯟꯕꯗ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯗꯤꯁꯀꯁꯟꯁꯤꯁꯨ towards a good governance ꯅꯤ ultimately ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯖꯥ ꯕꯤꯃꯣꯜꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ equity ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ share responsibility ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ultimately a good governance for the welfare of the people aduna ngasai agencies akhoi yam multicultural oiba adagi hill plain divide to so many complexity myam leba aduna akhoi na hozik agency oidoise people assess press leire media leire CSO leire other rules ngasai mizoram je pome isa mizoram degi ni akhoi gi hana people conference line to ZPM moina moi already keno to hore kharadi electoral party politics da sanga moi MLA taret ka yaugidana adagi one thing to be noted Mizoram gi yam fazabom na kamai to ganda akogi YMA ni khangde akogi club level moi di YMA central YMA gi makha all the clubs even in Manipur ba moi extend to yam fazaba structure ma lay ado MLA thagali se akogi Mizoram University gi uzama kai as well as akogi constituent college PUC gi MLA su kai aduga plus local gi leiriba leaders sing ja moi gi di matam du da akhoi sidana paisa pu thopang ngamba khana ba muhutta moidana kamai to ge kanda akogi intellectual contribution to bungamba even church tasu religious organization kano se akoi elder haiba sigum ba se akogi intellectual mayam si oina khalle adana ai se election ga noina mari pushalla bada akogi accountability lehen ba se masi CSO gi role as well as karam agency na akoi hen lobo da ka tai aduga we as an individual kayam contribute to godoino has a karamba my ozen matangi 2022 sida kari da focus to ge to gadagi has a asigi resource person sing adegi forum gi kana ni thank you
over to Tamo Rupachandra. Let's share your views. Unmute to Tamo. Unmute yourself.
Jalangidu da Jalal na yamna phajaba pona khak thamamaga madu pam da barom do ina haibu dong tore Jalal Manipur da pangan community na majority way ba constitute ama khakta leibada taret ka ba besigi indication ji karino masina haidi di jat bijat minority kanu yengdana mi du pharaga di khoi thagachi haibneba sina tro khoi na good electoral process haise aigi mi masing yamalaga aigi mi phagera pharoira aigi mi thaga to mebi wakal ondu tok to aga akhoi gi community mayam na support toroga karakpal leader do adune ba khoi na khara communal way na community amakaki wa ngangaga community amakaki issue pukhalaga ka mi de gi khare na phanen khalis aduna Manipur da pangal majority oiba constituency amakhak leibada pangan MLA taret kai haiba aduga hojik faraju phatraju taret manglautragaju hena kai hebse sidagi hena phajaba kari leidige sine simangni akoina yengdadori bese akoina mi je jate yenga botha da banatam mi du magi ngasagi hojiki akogi Mizoram da haibibado mi du gi quality du da yenga ma pangan oisanu adu jaga jo hoi mele wen thagachi haina thora iba magi consul leiba maitei wegera kabui wegera lemini mayam do moi mayam do neba moi mangi spirit tu neba koina democracy na hairise adu nata bida madugi constituency ju communal ontoktana pangan na masing yamdraga di hoi karro adigi kabui adu lemini ba gambu do if demographically lamjin tanar ko taraga di akoina hojik phangani ena khaliba akoina ngasi sanariba ngasi gi dialogue mayam je masi kana bamta phangoi doine aduna adai du da yong tang thamjage si yam phajaba poni haibasima adagi next ta hojik ki CSO na kari role lobu yage media na kai role lobu yage akoi any given condition da gari si ai gari anyway chakanda putha base ai huntoga di thamamde puthare thokat pangamdre haidana any the sao pai tawdana koi mi ti na koi inkhat laga ai yum yong ba thorok pa se koi loina maki gari koi cycle wagera scooter wagera gari achuk tongera koi loi tong ngatan aduna puthara ba society ma inkhat na bo na ba sidi koi myam gi daite loi le daite si karamba condition legam targadi khare hen na koi thu na ngam gada ge habi wadu dani Manipur gi da usik lai ri ba se koi so long as koi gi rulers jina consciousness oiraba mina hairap matamda ikaiba khangba aduga migi awaba khangba adugumba oitargadi akoina lauri basigi mahi se phangane but when the rulers are hell bent on not hearing adu itargadi ngasi akoi apsagada thenariba issue se akoi thengaduine baji bimol na apsagi pot bukhalakra apsagi pot se Supreme Court itself nasu yadi and high rabani and bimol masamakna yam fazana mamanga national television da masigi matanga issues pukhalakhrabani ikai biare semtok yare nahan bimol high giba bimol thamgriba wafam for example Bharat Sibu army na run dawra sinema are we a democratic country? Anamana penel do the hangi bado. Ado Fazana Taraga justice mode Amada Sigi Ojasina hangi reported it touch all our conscience. This is something we should not do. This is against the ethos. Kana kan number ruler later gadi. It is easier to mobilize anything sinida and akoi say the ladies akoi yam powerful oiba mera pai bi CSO lerme rise and success oira padubudi yamna popular oiba akoi gi kaino dagi ni yu thakpa thingba dagi ni adu ngasi prohibition bill gi amendment handaki parliament handaki assembly tawrisini kari yaurige di pade adubu makoina matamam da chatkiba spirit tu ki mayokari kharadi yawm dogdi male adu ji issue oide adu laiba poti aikoi gi CSO Manipur da leiba mayam maira paidi mayam punamakse over time masi akoi Mizoram dagi ajol da habi repodu da aina nungnang bang ka yawdi MZP dagi vote lepaga kare habese the lure of power sina civil society zida aisi NGO ama waina leramge habedagi government wala ke habese opposition waina ai opposition ki thabak chumna tawge haba khanbagi mahutta opposition to ga government da yaksal ke harap ki wakhalon je si he khalakanda akoi we are going to sink like Titanic haidare and the question is akoi thinking process se aina civil society ama yorko matamda what is my moral compass moral bearing zikari aina yauri baze is it a platform for me to reach that area I politics yauna wi oiri ibra sigumba gi indicator mayam se adigi political party singdagi makhoi gi agenda mayam du akoi vindicate tawnana ba maira pai bi yarum badagi I yaure have not the controversial way of the Marababi yam, but the CSO yam, but the Akoi dolls, the yaur air, high say for them it's a vindication of their good work. Certificate people whenever. Aduna Makogi Saitaki, we cannot hold it against them when they try to attract any of these public spirited people say you come and join. I dolls yaur law. I coin nang to Mato Aduni Toge Kanba. Haidana. Political parties in the we cannot fault them. But Maduda Changmuriba Mido definitely Mangon the D Aquina Hanguabadi, Nangna civil society, Tabak Tauribado, Razi Tauge and Tauribra. I have a question of the Hangaya. Adu clear cut Waitava. Adu Dagadi, sorry, please do not use this platform. I don't know, Jixi Akoi lines in the zoom blur well ko terrorism tenana pani and allow rubo Pegasus journalist the senior advocate the senior mami tarakpa. See, we are blurring lines between whether we are fighting law and order ki port oiribra adagi political party constructive oiribra yeah line I'm blur wherever between CSOs entering politics, politicians taking help of CSOs. See, CSOs sing effective the CSOs need to be clear cut on its agenda. Aduga NGO non-government organization it should never aspire to become government. When NGOs aspire to become government, things will go wrong. NGOs are supposed to be NGO. None never portray. Simamang the doom like it. And worse still, NGO needy hiraga go. GOG tabak to again worse. NGO the gi talk raga GO in a yaugi baduna okay fine. He's convert, put full convert. Aduna taba NGO ni and the hiraga NGO gi tabak ti talk taba NGO gi. Kanogi gap ki manunda NGO kanogi maikungi kanoda behind that you start working for the government. Then it undermines the whole polity haitare. We need to be careful when people try to hand their power either to the CSOs to control the government or to the government to govern us. We are the people. We hand over the power either to the government through electoral process or to the CSOs by giving them support, monitoring nikhangde, natraga thagat pa nikhangde. And we are the people who are giving the power. It's the people who are giving the power. So people need to be aware of how people to whom we give power use their power. Adugi accountability duni. Akoina matam du lakanda kusina se haise.
Right. Briefly, the models are saying an effective and functioning democracy require an effective oppositional politics. I mean, there is also charm to be in opposition because you have the privilege always keeping the government in check. I mean, adugi privilege is so important. Way need for effect. Other than organizer the how much time we had. We exceed. So much. I think there is no more question.
We have exceeded by almost an hour.
So
we should try to
another hour.
Yeah. So
we have exceeded 1 hour.
So I have to give the last this thing. The wind up towards.
Okay, civil society organization singi role ge matang si masida khajitang ngai haijege okay civil society organization singsina election sida yamna free and fair oiba okay gi election da malpractice to bose masi tawhandana na ba civil society organization singi level da masi work to bayai aduga loina election da afaba candidate ama okay gi elected hen khinana bagi damakta madu particular kanagumba amagi foreign against nataba yamna categorically mana pamjaba mana akoina asato riba society sina asato ba dum mi ma product ama puthokpa ngamna bagi public te awareness piba aduga public na madugi practice to follow to hanana ba madugi work te civil society organization gi level da akoi punna tawminna ba yaba adugumba thabak amane na akoina lawi ado kanagumba hiram sigi matangda akoi civil society organization kharagi maikai da gidi akoi ga khenaba mot phongdok piba lai maruaina akoi gi india gi hojik lairiba political system sigi makhada pangthuiba election sina akoi gi kaigumba makhal gi solution amata purak pangamoi haina thajaba aduna masidagi akoi lapna leigadamni haina khanba adugi wakhalonda leiba kharamadi akoi ga khenana lai akoina ujaba mieng tadi akoi tangai phadana akoi hiram khuding makse akoi gi political solution amagi makhada lakadabani na akoi gi leiriba akoi gi issue myam che masi lotion ge hai taragati afaba good governance sama takar leiba afaba good leaders ama takar leibani na puthok good leaders to akoina prajana elector ga puthoktragadi leiroidabani na adugi prajana elect tawgadaba good leaders sing to sembada civil society akoina taita lawdragadi kanana lawgadabno habsi masigi question se thamjage amaru aina akoi masi akoina ngamba mafam kharada akoina practice tawba ngamba mafam kharadadi akoi masi hatak lakadorba 22 ge election sida akoina ngamba thab kharadi tawjage habgi wakhal akoidati lei aduga atopa amana akoigi CSO yauramaga राजनीति खोंदा खिबा और खोंदा खिदबा मदुगी मतंग ददि अखोई खितंग मदु थमजगे सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हाइबसे मागी स्पेसिफिक कोइबा अदुगुंबा आइडियोलॉजी पर्पस अदुगी एजेंडा अमगी मखादा वर्क तौरिबनी अमसुंग तौगदोरिबनी माना सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दा याउरिबा लेरिबा मिसिंगदो सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दुगे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आइडियोलॉजी अदुगा मागी लेरिबा एजेंडा सिंगदो मदुदा वर्क तौगतामनी मदुदा लेना माना गवर्नमेंट की प्रो ओइबा नत्रगा अगेंस्ट ओइबा अनो बायस ओइबा नत्रगा प्रो ओइबा थबक तोरक तारगदि मदु मागी लेरिबा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दुगे वांग मदनी हाइना अदुमाइना थमजगे अदुगा कनागोंबा मियमा सिविल सोसाइटी यावरमगा माना थबक पुबा मागी टेन्यर मागी मतम लोइरबा मतुंगा माना पॉलिटिकल ऑप्शन नम खलक्तना मा पॉलिटिक्स ऑन द ससखी गे हाना सत्तदुदि मदुदि कैसु प्रॉब्लम लेते मदु अदुम बमी सिविल सोसाइटी द लेर मगा पोथा की बमी सिंगुना राजनीति द लाइबदो मदु नाकलबरोम दति समथिंग अतोपा अते तेगी एरिया द लाकपदे दि मान लाकपदुना वो खरे हेना फगद्रा फई हाइना अदु मेनो ओपिनियन पिजनी अदुगा नसागी तमो रूपचंद्र गी दा नाम फजबो गाक्तनी तमो रूपचंद्र ना थंबिरिबा कोइदा फाव पुनिंग लौसिंग यामना ओइबा अखैना लौसिन जबा म्याम मा यावरे अखैना एडमियर तौजबा म्याम यावरे अदु नसागी अखैगी proportionate representation की मतंग सी लाप कांदा तमो कोई यम चुमी community पुनमक ने याबा leader पुथोपा हाइबसी यमनदी मरु है अदुबो अखोई गान आइडियल ओइबा कनो दा ताम दा हारे कांदा माइ दा सोमना कंदा थारागदि सोमना कंसु लौबियु यानी यानी हाइबदो इन प्रैक्टिस दा हेक्ता यादबा दौना अखोई के community polarization की पोचे हौजिक मणिपुर की context दा मसी वांखलक हाइता अखोई मणिपुर कम्युनिटी पोलराइजेशन की पोचे वांग्रिंगे की मतम ददी मी दुगे पेकुलर ओइबा कंडीशन तुदा पर्सनालिटी तुदा मी दुगे लेइबा क्वालिटी तुदा येंगा वोट कारिंगे मतम दा पांगंदगी सु तरेट फोबा काबा मतम यावग्रे हाबनी मदु 1972 स्टेट वोट फंगबगी टाइमिंग अदवाइदनी अलीमुद्दीन नगर चीफ मिनिस्टर वेरमिसी मरहुम चीफ मिनिस्टर अलीमुद्दीन चीफ मिनिस्टर वेख्रिसी अदु हाउचिकी लेइबा मतम सिददी अखोई अमदगी अनि काबदे वारे अनि दगी अहुम काबदे वारे अदुना मरम वरकांदा अखोइगी लेइबा इलेक्टोरल सिस्टम सिदा अदगा असेंबली की कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी सिस्टम सिदा कइगो मोहोंग खर लापदा मिसिंगा चानाबा चांगदा प्रोपोर्शनेट ओइबा मोंगदा खितंग सेंबीद्रगदी अखोइगी मरक्तगी यामना मतिक्ति चाजबा लो मेकर अमा ओइबदगादी मतिक्ति याम चागदबा अदु बिकॉज ऑफ मागी कम्युनिटी सिदा बिलोंग्स टोरुबना माना ओइबा असेंबली सेगमेंट दुलदि मागी पॉपुलेशन से यामदबा अदुना मरम वरगा वोट लेपा याररोय कोइ वोट काररोय हेदं लेपचदबा लो मेकर ओइबदि मतिक चागदम मिसो दम लेतबदि नते अदुंबा मैम तो कोई एड्रेस तौसी हाई तारगदी अखोई मसी आईगी हाइबा सिगी वखलोन से मसी हेक लुसलप मतमदा आईगी सि हेक सैक्रिफाइस तौबं ngabdabam su laeba masi gi pot si kitang sacrifice tawraga akhoi मैम सि पुलप की ओइबा पुनबा ama wakhal lama khanbagi adugi train tu da khoi changchan ba hawragadi soidana khoi problem sing si solution tawbagi lambi rom da changchal lakani aduga mai su soidana pakani sumaina sum leibadi yaroi khoi siragi ahong ba changes khar di lakpatai lakadoi ba changes si masi khoi gi PC RM na khoi gi puthokpi dana khoi khanna nei na ba hawrei bje masi khoi gi mayam ge mind da khoi gi kano tawbani inject tawbani mayam ge mind da khoi yakai hanba haitare mayam da tumba hotokpa adum ban amani hana lawi sige potsi sumaina mayam ji de awareness pi ba potsi sum campaign ji kankhala ga CSO mayam ji musigi apunba collective mechanism ba semkala ga madai da khoi gi leiriba issue sing je masi solution phangba ngamgadaba adum bagi lambi ya da khoi changshal lakpa taragadi hauji lai bo sing ji loi sangani adu na tabata dana hauji chatli ba train ji sum chathagi ba taragadi akhoi 2022 gi election ga matung dati akhoi madal lakadoi ba scenario do madal lakadoi ba kano to outcome do kari oi gadoi ma hacha akhoi khanbade amna wa ba phawi ana akhoi mayam mikap thokminnarasi gyan taminarasi aduga khoi anauba vision nama khaki bakhada waktu bagi matam du yoge haba du ki wafam se aroi boina
thank you Jalal.
Follow up to na question am tak wapam tak samobu matam kita
follow up to si organizer na pungsi ya gidang ta haibio ai ngam
minute aba pharo
to 9:40 yore yam quickly hero Roses Roses natra
mane ai ngasagi an agency puslakoi maram se ta ginate Manipur si conflict labor latabra hai bisnesa kaiba conflict ama lai hai taragadi conflict to the part labor agency mayam sina electoral the campaign to electoral reform to hai bismu oithoku yaro aduga ngasagi conflict to later kanda later ceasefire laiba kabu singa ji automatically election yausal ismaina conflict to later matam dadi mathanta dum yausal rakani aduna civil society na electoral politics vanguard or the agency mo ina tholo hai bisi akoi Manipur gi context khangda nang man first observation da aduga second point da aina question amaka tamo Rupachandra da hangam sina ngasai gi akoi gi structural reform amaka ki tangai pute ha badi leire adubu akoi na ngasai gi proportional representation da ngasai gi explain to 40-20 gi wapam ma leibisi ngasai gi geographical condition da yenga kanda in case population da magi area the cover to the mi yam the MLA machine yam taragasu area chaw would yenga kanda magi allocation of funds hengalan be yapna for example kashamdong kendra da di kashampata in how mo botani aduga magi pangu MLA pesaduga ukrul da leiba moi ahum gi pesadu manabanina ngasai magi activities to we are processing the problem yam nei adam madu structural issue do reform to we yana ba in case akoi haiba plain area da leiba MLA mayam duna upa crore ama phanguma tamda area sawi dugi crore ani phangan ba yapa so that there is structural equality gi pot ama khak oi halak na bkhona ba da kari problem leiba atom dadi kai tamo Rupachandra gi mo da kai thangin bai
tamo segi
ai time tamoge yam sangalaro matam leite
segi Rosio gi question sida conflict situation in context that should we imagine CSO role as completely something to do within the electoral politics? I don't think so. Aduna CSO si adu ain khamde panelists in min talk the ran khale the CSO gi politics electoral
magi points hai hoigi live stream to kanda kitang macha kainong khanasi issue hele ko ai
namoi loiraga mapana unasi film taragado mal no to in a very right hijari
next hojiki Rojeshki photo ha
conflict se non state ke state ka thengai na male civil society ka conflict ma su triangle le yaw bre di khang de gi mod di eternal triangle ki type ta
kaino lo kan da bhajana kya dan sana sigi live stream lo kan da roses alan gi no lo kan da next sigi roses ki point to
yes namo quickly thambia
yam bhaje ba chingda we should give more I report se adu practice talk the bagine ba chingi kambu ne sawi je aduna akoina good governance and as a high badu da lakadu ji ching good governance like hai daga di chingmi ga tamni ga je sauna loi dam ne ba sauna loi ha ba taraga di there should be an equal opportunity equal development aduna akoina chingi MLA gi wana ta bada akoina budget sema matam ji da MLA gi khutang da chat pa yai departmental loi ba yai but it should be in such a manner where Bipun Guti Mangna equitable share Panga to filter on the Dovane. Adu talk the Badaki Neba Zik, Ahogi politic towning Kanguna Toraga issue in a side construct over the issue construct oraga for the Sinabase. Aduna Nida, Aduna Aquina Lasta, Aquina, we have to make all people ask their MLAs. Mokoina Tanbam Jutoi, Akoi Chingi. Jida Karigumba say suppose isam samna MLA Alfred na Mamangi Assembly constituency Amada how we can turn the hill areas into horticulture power. Well, ado sigi je lak matam da issue ma mung lai aina thaina hoigi tongan ba moi official khaga wai sana matam da ai hai ching develop ton gi hai da ga di ching da land ownership yum change ching mi da land ownership yum change cookie gi da problem is cookie chief tu na ayeng nang chakro ka lui chatui ne so a cookie naha mana kaino da ki ahoigi ma mapan da thabak tawraga lupa crore 10 kun maji asset ama capital ma create tawraga Manipur da la kan da kainom tawgen tawkan jida magi khun da chat kan jida kundu da ma lam machet ma lawraga ma factory mi ga kai matam da lam du magi we sunga ya die aduna definitely he will come down to the valley area pata lawa ya ba area Chuchanpur ki area oigera natraga kano Kangkuki area oigera to pangar pange natraga valley area da lower kanda adu sakala ka doine aduna akoi ki chaukat pai jida government ki pora musu leire plus private parties in jisu government na lambi sem ba jida lambi je panam padana sem da ga su lambi tu ki nakan du da entrepreneur mayam ma thabak to ka do je akoi tampak ki mi kakat pa ya handra ga su hauju ji leiba pot ya da su Chingi missing je moi land reform to ga empower to change ana sigum ba maya mama dop tel adum la ai wanida aduna government ki side ki akoi we should give them more fund to develop the area but also policy program sem to oga chingi missing je chingi area jida development chong chong to hon ba yana na ba akoi gi makoi da opportunity impin na ba law sing sem to kum change ba but Manipur da somewhere si mayam si politically mix up to chalaga agoi ji amaga taina basina political cornerstone hoi leire chingi politician na tamgi politician taina ba tamgi politician na chingi kangbu taina ba si cornerstone of our politics hoi re adu masi ki porsi lokthuk si hai daraga di agoi awareness sindokpa awareness hai sindokpa sima dakar tai public empowerment dakar tai aduga sigumba webinar ma'am ji tawdana hoi wari watai sai sa da important way thamjage
Yeah, thank you Tamo Rupachandra and oza hoi Tamo Jalal aduga Immanuel Varte khara nganna chakre ha batare magi thabak ama leitna I think to conclude that it was a very enriching debate hai tare ko koi ga issue oigada aduga issue si kamai karam direction da chatli natraga issue oidaba mayam so the nature of our electoral political system electoral politics political parties duga khagi last tar is a need for an effective oppositional parties need for effective CSO a need for a citizen who can always keep the system in check and need for making the parties and system accountables and require necessary administrative electoral reforms to bring more equity and more addressing more marginalized communities, their own development issues. Hairaga isida lage oro we adi am sangdok re tare matam se do nungai manna sangdok bai tare so thank you all over to the organizer.
live stream
I am tang vote of things am tang pigeon hogi get tamo I camera so on the normal ado yeng biriba mayam amadi akogi ngasigi panelists oi biriba tamo Rupachandra Yumnam adagi tamo Jalal adagi amadi Immanuel Varte aduga ngasigi host oi biriba Amarjit Guru Mayumbu PCRM gi maikedagi thagat phondokchari PCRM na 2012 ki election dagi horaga 2022 gi election sibau lakpagi journey asida mayam na support tobiba aduga akoina tawbangamba mayam amasu akoina tawkiba mayam du thamjaraga ngasi su adum leptana akoigi khongjang asi campaign gi khongjang asi akhoi changjalli masida yaubiri ba ngasigi panelist natana akhoi gi zoom sida yaubiri ba participants mayam amasu amadi Facebook ta live asibu yengbiri ba mayam subu aina punna thagatjari akhoi gi ngasigi khongjang asi makhatana sum changakpagi iroina na nomaijing khudingi 7:15 PM da akhoi sigumba discussion asi thamjabagi warep adudi lepsabaga loinana ngasina ani suba episode ni mathangi lakadaba episode ta ngasigi oikiba wari haibadi political party na hena maru oibra natragana vote lepiba mina hena maru oibra haiba wafam asida khana nainaba asi loisangraba matungna akhoi ngasi CSO gi su wa haudore hena khalli CSO gi haudoriba wa singse akhoi mathangi episode ta amuk address tawba ngambra haibadu amtang yengjage masi hairaga live stream asi mayam punamak tagi ngasigi oinadi masida akhoi loisanjare. Thank you everyone.